So I'm going to call the meeting to order. It is 6:02. And I'm just going to read the script real quick for everyone here. So I just wanted to confirm that you can all hear me, and so if I say your name, just in the affirmative, please. So Beth, Doug,
Aye. Here.
Prabhu,
Here.
Lisa,
Here.
John,
Here.
and Julie.
Here.
Great. Okay. This open meeting of the Grafton Building and Library Planning and Building Committee is being conducted remotely, consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of March 12, 2020, due to the current state of emergency in the Commonwealth due to the outbreak of the COVID-19 virus. In order to mitigate the transmission of the COVID-19 virus, we have been advised and directed by the Commonwealth to suspend public gatherings. And as such, the governor's order suspends the requirement of the open meeting law to have all meetings in a publicly accessible physical location. Further, all members of public bodies are allowed and encouraged to participate remotely. The order, which you can find posted to the town's website, allows public bodies to meet entirely remotely so long as reasonable public access is afforded so the public can follow along with deliberations of the meeting. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law. This meeting will feature, could feature public comment. For this meeting, let's see, there's nobody by teleconference, so we're okay there. Let's see, accordingly, please be aware that other folks may be able to see you, and that take care not to screen share your computer. Anything that you broadcast may be captured by the recording. Okay. So for any response, please wait until the chair yields the floor to you and state your name before speaking. If members wish to engage in colloquy with other members, please do so through the chair, taking care to identify yourself. Okay, sorry, I didn't have my regular paperwork with me, so. All right, so let's just get right into it, and we'll go right into the Interior Design Subcommittee Furnishings update.
Okay, I'm going to share my screen here. Can everyone see this, the presentation panel?
Yep.
Okay.
Can you use the PowerPoint view so we don't see your slides on the side, and so it makes it bigger on the whole screen? It's usually like a little thanks.
How's that?
Great.
Okay. Ken is supposed to be joining us. Also with me is Corey Mcgrath from Tucker Library Interiors. She has been working with us in specifying and pricing the furniture, as well as lending advice on different options. So what I have up on the screen is the PowerPoint presentation that was reviewed and approved or voted on by the design subcommittee in last Wednesday night's meeting. We're presenting it for your review tonight. I'm going to be approaching this from a higher level presentation. I won't be going into each individual piece. If you do have questions, please feel free to interrupt and ask. If something's not clear, please let me know. So we're going to start with the lower level, the program room. And we have also outside a desk, self-check, storage room, another storage room. So the task seating for the desk is going to be KI 4C. With this upholstery, we have the stack chairs that are going to be used in the program room. They're going to be black with a black mesh seat and a solid polymer black shell. We also have some bariatric chairs as needed. We'll have 2 lecterns, and then we're having a number of flip top nesting tables that are on casters so that they can be brought out as needed and then put into the storage room when not needed. The stacking chairs are also going to be on carts. You can stack about 20 to 30 of these on a given cart. So it makes them easier to lay out, to put back in the storage room, and not have to carry them around. And then we also have a maple self-check desk over here next to shelving for the pickup, where people can pick up their orders, so to speak. Also, these are the floor finishes that had already been approved. So this is the carpet for the program room, as well as the tiles for the main corridor. And then these are the finishes for the tabletops and the chair bases. Now we're going across to the other side of the hall where we have the cafe, custodian office, friends, and sorting. Again, we have the same task seating. We have cafe tables, 2 that are standing height with stools, and 1 that is seated height with chair. The chair is going to have a silver frame and a maple seat. This is a chair that we've selected for some of the back office spaces and some of the public spaces. They are a task chair, but they're not an 8-hour chair. These chairs we use for people that will be sitting in them frequently for long periods of time. And then also in the custodian office, we have an adjustable height desk and a mobile pedestal. And these 2 items are similarly used in the private offices. Going into the teen room, the teen area, this is the carpet that we've selected for that area. And what we're showing are a number of chairs and tables. These Donny chairs are being used in the study areas, the study rooms, in this color. And then throughout the tables along the wall and into the program room, we have these Ruckus student chairs, which are polymer. They have a wire basket, casters, and we'll be using them in these colors. We also have 3 benches along the window. They're going to be single benches, not a double bench like this. This is just an illustration. They'll have a lower height back. And the benches will also have a rectangular table, the maple top, silver base. And then these are the upholsteries that we selected for the benches. And continuing along this window, we have these Geo lounge chairs with C tables. It's a little table you pull up next to the lounge chair for your laptop, your coffee, etc. We have those in a few spots along the windows. In this corner here, we have, excuse me, 3 of the Geo chairs with a short table, maple top. And then in the center and over to the sides, we have the Sella lounge chair with some ottomans and end tables, or drum tables rather. And then these are the upholsteries that we selected for these various chairs and drum tables and ottoman. And you can see here what upholsteries are going on which chairs throughout this space. And then in the program room, the teen program room, again, as I mentioned earlier, we have the Ruckus student chairs in these colors. At the computer counter, we have the Ruckus stool, which is a 24-inch high stool, because that's it's not a very tall counter. I was afraid to go higher with the stool. We have 2 of these butcher block top studio tables with the cerulean blue legs, locking casters. And then we also have an easel, a dry erase easel that has storage underneath. And then these are the sheet vinyl floorings that are going into this room. And then this is the accent color that's along this south wall of the room. And then the glass doors and windows will have this window film dot matrix on it. Going into the gaming room, along the back wall, we have these cube seats, inside corner, as well as a 2-step and a 3-step. It's set up in a configuration along the back wall. These are for people that are watching the other people play, whether they're waiting their turn or just watching their friends play. And then here we have the Anderson gaming chair in lipstick red. And on the other side, we have 4 of the Smith System rockers in this gray vinyl. The viewer seating is going to be in this graphite color. And again, the carpet is the same as in the teen room, and the whole room in this case is purple. All of the walls are purple. And going across the area to the children's space, these are the colors, the vinyl colors being used for the floor in the children's program. This is the carpet for the children's area. We have in youth services a gray sheet vinyl. And in the nursing room over here, we have a gray quartz tile. Then these are the accent colors. So we have this melange green in this corner here of the children's area. We have the teal color coming down this wall and across. And then in the children's program room, in this little alcove where it says F, that alcove is going to be painted this sunrise. The rest of the walls are going to be painted the same standard off-white that we're using throughout. Where we have desks and offices, we have a task seat with this upholstery. In these areas, we have, again, the adjustable height desk and the mobile pedestal. And we also have a credenza that has a seat cushion on it. The mobile pedestal also has a seat cushion with this upholstery. The adjustable height table will have a maple top with a silver base. And then these tables throughout here are the amoeba table with this red bamboo and these bent plywood chairs in a number of different colors. Those are the computer tables through here, and then along the back also. And then we have some of the same lounge seating here and here with the geo chair and the table. We have a setup here with the teacup lounge chairs and love seat, also with a rectangular ottoman. And these are the upholsteries that we're using for the chairs in this room. And then the tabletops will have either maple or the red bamboo with the silver base. And here we're using the lectern as a mobile desk. And again, this will have a maple top and a silver base and a maple modesty panel. In the children's play area here, we have the toadstool stools along with a log bench. Not this entire setup. It's just this bench here. We'll have a few of those. And we'll have about 6 of these stools in different heights, 2 different heights. And then as a placeholder in the children's program room, we've added a reading chair. Right now we're using the Geo chair as a placeholder. In the tutoring room here, we have the same Donny chair, but in a different color, a lighter blue. We have the Solstice recliner in the nursing room in the same upholstery here, the elementary. And then in the children's program room, we have adjustable height tables, butcher block top, silver base. And we also have stacking chairs in these colors in 2 different heights for younger children and then the slightly older children. And we also have these lily pads. They're just a round 2-inch thick seat cushion that children can sit on the floor during a story time or other events, groundwork, so to speak. And they come in this little cart for stacking and storage. The colors for the pads will match these colors as close as possible. It's a different manufacturer, but we're working with these same 4 colors. Going upstairs to the adult area, again, we have task seating wherever there's a circulation desk or information desk or an office. The upholsteries for that chair. The typical office, again, has the adjustable height table, the credenza, and the pedestal. There are a few ottomans scattered throughout at the end of the stacks, just for a quick touchdown, sit down type of thing. And then along the window, we have a number of these teacup lounge chairs, again with the C table and in some cases the base. This is the gray carpet that's in the stack area. Oops, sorry. And then this carpet is in the main corridor running down through from one end of the building to the other. And then in some of the offices, we have this blue carpet. The staff room has, up here, has the gray sheet vinyl. Now in the staff room, we have the a rectangular table, maple top, silver legs. We also have the same cafe chairs around the table, along with a bench that has just a wooden top, no cushion. And then at the window where we have a counter, a standing height counter, we'll have the same stools that we use in the cafe. And along the windows, we have a series of 4 tables, maple top, maple base. It'll have casters on one end. So you can pick up the other end like a wheelbarrow and move them around wherever you need them. The tables on the ends will have 2 of the steel framed chrome leg axis chair with a bent plywood shell, along with a bench with a full length cushion. And then the 2 chairs, the 2 tables in the middle are the same table, but just with the axis chair. We'll also have a mobile desk / lectern in the area, along with the self-check, which is over here. And then these are the upholsteries that we're using for the soft seating. So in this case, we have this color as the seat cushion and back, and then the outside shell of the chair is this color. And then the chairs in the soft seating in the staff room is all one color. Then going across the hall to all of the study areas, tech services, and a few offices. Again, this is the color of the carpet that goes down the corridor. It's also in the director office. And then we have this carpet, this blue carpet in the other offices. Again, this upholstery for some of the task chairs, and then this upholstery for some of the soft seating and accents. So in the general study rooms, here, here, and here, we have the Donny chair in the Surf's Up light blue, along with these rectangular tables, maple top, silver legs. They are all on casters, locking casters, so they can be moved around as needed and reconfigure the space. In the tech services area, we have task chairs along with some mobile pedestals under the built-in desks. And in the administrative office, again, we have the typical adjustable height desk, credenza, mobile pedestal. Here we have some divider panels running down the center between these two work areas to give them some privacy. They're only about, I think, 54 inches high. So if you're seated, you won't see over them. But if you stand up, you can see over them. They're not very tall panels that will make you feel closed in. We also have a copier. There's some lateral files. The guest chair is the same chair we're using out on the floor, which is the chrome-legged Axis chair with the bent plywood maple seat. And then in the director office, again, it's the adjustable height with the credenza and mobile pedestal. We have a guest table that is a round table on casters with a flip top, so it can be flipped and rolled out of the way when not needed. We also have a C table at the credenza in the corner here. And last, we have the large print room at the east end of the building, and then we have the periodical room, which is the existing building at the other end. This is the carpet that we selected for these two rooms. We felt that being more traditional, they needed a more traditional carpet. And then the study room, again, this study room C, again, is that blue carpet that we're using elsewhere. So for large print and periodicals, we have this soft seating in a combination of these two upholsteries. They're going to be mixed within each room. And then we have also some C tables stationed throughout, along with drum tables stationed throughout. And in this study room, we have the Geo chair in this upholstery, again with a drum table. And I forgot to mention that over in large print, we have two tiered display cases, also in maple. And then this upholstery, which doesn't show up very well in an image, is the upholstery that that's been selected for all of the window seats. Let me go back a page. So where you have a window seat here, the cushions will have this upholstery. That's the overview. So please feel free to ask any questions. I can go back and then we can talk about the budgets.
I have a question, Ron. Can I, Mary?
Yes, please do.
Can you, Ron, can you go to the first slide? In the program room, I was just curious, all those seating, how much of it is permanent seating and how much of it is everything permanent?
None of this is permanent. These are all the stacking chair here. And you can, as I mentioned, you can stack 20 to 30 of these on a wheeled cart. So they can, if you're not using them, they can be put into a closet, storage closet. Or if you're not using all of them, you could bring them out as many as you need. And it's the same thing for the tables. The tables are on casters. They have a flip top, so the top flips up, and they nest, so they stack side by side. Rather than stacking on top, one table on top of another, they stack side by side to take up less space when being stored. So nothing in here. Actually, there's very little furniture throughout this project that is not movable. Either most of it's on casters, even some of the soft seating. Jump ahead for a second. These Geo chairs have casters on the front two legs and a small handle, small wooden handle on the back of the back. So that if you wanted to move one of these chairs from here to this table or someplace else, it's very easy to pick up and wheel it. All of these tables and chairs are on casters with the exception of the bench. But generally speaking, most of this furniture is movable throughout the building.
Oh, okay.
And
And
we've
how
also-
durable? Sorry, go ahead. Finish your thought.
We've also kept in mind in some cases that the furniture colors have been coordinated from one room to another so that if furniture is taken from one room and moved into another, it fits in. It doesn't look like it's out of place.
Okay, thank you. And one final last question is, how durable are these casters? I mean, what's the lifetime? We're talking 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, depending on the usage.
I'm sorry, the casters?
Yeah.
Most commercial furniture has a 10 to, depending on the manufacturer, it's usually in the area of a 10-year warranty. But this is all commercial grade furniture. This is very durable. These chairs, correct me if I'm wrong, but these Opt4 chairs are rated for 350 pounds. These bariatric chairs are rated for much, much higher than that. But to answer your question, the casters are commercial grade, and I doubt that you would have any issues with them.
Hi,
Thank
this
you.
is Corey. I just thought I'd address Ron's question about the weight for the chairs, if I could, on the Opt4 weight.
Sure.
Oh, of course, now they're each of the Opt4 are rated for 350 pounds, and I've put a note down to find out the lifetime of the caster for you.
Thank you. Does anybody else have other questions for the furniture?
I do, Mary. It's Lisa.
Sure. Hi, Lisa.
I love the blues. I love the colors. I worry a bit about the patterns in the children's room and the team room looking outdated. Is this something that the committee discussed, or like it's very bright? I love the idea of that, but I'm concerned sometimes with patterns, they become outdated very quickly.
I feel the same way about some patterns, as you know, having been an interior designer for quite a while. These patterns being geometric and the colors, I don't think they're going to go away. They're going to be outdated anytime soon.
Okay.
They're not really trendy colors. I mean, there's a lot of color, for example, in this carpet and in the children's room. It's in here.
Maybe it's the green that's throwing me for a little bit of a loop.
It could also be the shading, because it's monitors, it's images, it's not the actual sample. But the colors in the carpets and in the upholsteries aren't really trendy colors. They're pretty, you know, teals, purples, reds, grays, greens, colors that have been around for a while, and I expect are going to be still looking contemporary a few, you know, years from now.
Thank you.
Yeah, I have to say I agree a little bit with Lisa, but again, it's not my forte. I don't know a lot about the interior design of that. I would imagine that maybe maybe somebody from the subcommittee could also chime in. Maybe you picked the rugs have pattern to them, the furniture has pattern. Is it because that then it'll have longevity with people spilling things and you know, treading for you know, people coming through it constantly? Could we just get a little feedback from the subcommittee on all the colors that are downstairs in the children's area and the teen area?
This is Beth. I will say one thing about the children's space. There's a dark blue chair. It's something blueberry. And when I first took a look at it, I said, that looks like a PlayStation controller. Like the geometric shapes remind me a little bit of a gaming console that has not changed its style or design for 20 something years. So I think that like kids will recognize that and find it appealing. I like that it's actually kind of a darker blue color against the children's room, against that bright patterned rug. And then the red and yellow in it really pops out and ties in with a lot of the other color choices that we've made throughout. I think it's not showing very well on the screen, like that greenish teal color for the paint for the accent wall. It's not an accent wall. There's a lot of dark teal blue in that children's room. And it's really striking. And I think that it looks really cool. And then there's kind of that neonish green against it. It's a little bit Seussian, actually, which, you know, has been, in spite of some of the issues with some of those Seuss books, that's been kind of perennially popular. The other thing is paint is actually one of the easier things to change. So it feels like if it starts to feel like in 5 years, this isn't working for us anymore, I think it would be okay to paint over or sponge over and pick a different or more neutral, or go to the Pantone website and see what is on trend. Do remember though, if you're talking about color trend, Pantone comes out every 6 months with a new release of colors that usually picks 2 for the year, right? And then a color palette of 12. It's already out of date by the time it's printed. And I do think too, we want kids and caregivers particularly to feel welcome. And I think that the bright space is really great. And there is some respite with some white walls and the program room. The teen space in particular, we did have teen overview of it. I think we had 7 or 8 kids take a look. They loved all that purple. And I think part of the point of the teen space is for it to be a little riotous and keep adults out. They have the coolest furniture. It's going to be a nice place for somebody to sneak in with a laptop at 11 in the morning. And we're going to be really committed to keeping that space for teenagers, even in their non-school hours, because there are non-traditional kids who are going to want to go in and use that space and will be uncomfortable if there's an adult in there. So we're going to be trying to deter the adults from coming in and sitting in those comfy Sella chairs and those cool booths and taking over the maker space purposely with that kind of bright, a little bit obnoxious furniture. And it is modeled after some, you know, bigger, you know, fancier and more famous libraries. Newton Teen Room is one that actually comes to mind, where every single color is a bright, dark blue, purple, red. The carpet's another totally different color, and it all works. That's my take. I don't know if you do know that I did a lot of independent library consulting before I came to Grafton, and I've been to over 100 libraries in the US and Canada and helped local libraries design their facilities for teenagers in particular. So they, again, at a glance, it might not look like it's all tying in together. We still do have carpet samples. I don't know a way to make them available, but we agonized over these choices, and I'm finally happy with them.
Well, I have to say that, you know, we put all our confidence in you all. So we are just taking a quick glance at everything. So it just did seem a little jarring looking at some of the geometric against the rugs and all that, but I'm sure it's going to be fantastic. So, you know, thank you all for all that work.
Yeah, I mean, that was one of my questions early on, was just how I kept using the word loud, just if it was going to look really loud in there with all the different patterns and stuff. But, you know, this is a good picture. If you look at the design, I mean, you got to remember there's going to be a lot of tables and a lot of stacks, and there's going to be a lot of other furniture in that space. So I
Mhm.
think the color, just the different colors are going to really pop out a little bit more.
Great.
Mary, even I'm getting used to it. So
Yeah. Well, then, okay.
it just takes a little while.
Okay, just wanted to get perspective of how the committee came up with it. So that's great. Thank you. Does anybody else have any other questions on the furniture?
No, Ron, do you want to walk us through the budget, the before and after
Yeah.
scenarios?
Oops. As soon as I hit the right button. Okay, this is the most recent budget comparison. The numbers came in today. So we have shelving and furniture, and then the totals for each. This is the GPL grant budget for furniture and shelving that was submitted back in 2017. TLI, which is Tucker Library Interiors Quarry, provided us with an estimate in 2017 that had shelving at $294,000 and change, and furniture at $251,000 and change. And then the most recent, as of today, we are at $312,000 for furniture. I'm sorry, shelving, and $348,000 and change for furniture. Now, the difference just in the TLI numbers from basically a spec furniture layout at the time to what was actually requested and selected at this time, the shelving went up 17,000 and change. The furniture went up 97,000 and change. But if you look at the original grant budget for furniture and shelving of 610,000 to where we are currently for the combined at 661,000, over the course of 4 years with escalation, we're only, I forgive me for saying only, but it's $51,000 difference from where we originally started to where we are now. And that's 4 years later with more information and input onto as to the selection and what furniture is needed.
And there's no question too, this time around, the grant application defined as far as FF&E what was required by MBLC, their minimum requirements, versus what the presentation that Ron just went through is what is desired now today. So the furniture count, it's not apples to apples. The furniture count is heavier this time around in certain areas where we've got more furniture than we did before. And don't get confused by the numbers if you're comparing shelving budget versus shelving Tucker, because the maple tops, for example, on top of the shelving, that was part of the furniture budget, not part of the shelving budget. So the numbers kind of got mixed up a little bit or back and forth. The bottom line is what we should be concentrating on, as Ron mentioned. So we're about 51,000 higher than we were 4 or 5 years ago.
I have a question, Mary.
Okay, Lisa.
Is this is the $51,000 inflation, or is it because we selected more, or because we selected more or different?
Combination.
Yeah.
It's the change in prices over 4 years, but there's also more furniture in the current design than there was in the original grant design. And some of the pieces are more expensive than what was originally anticipated. For example, adjustable height desks as opposed to fixed height desks. You know, a typical office desk is X amount less expensive than an adjustable height electric desk.
So why, can you help me understand why we have more, why we're getting more furniture than we originally thought? I mean, the space isn't bigger, or did we just come up with a different idea?
No, it's a combination. The original, correct me if I'm wrong on this, Ken, but the original layout at the time the grant was done is not the same layout that we have now. So there's more furniture involved. Plus, there were additional pieces added over time.
I'm struggling a little bit with it being over 51,000. I can definitely get behind. I understand how inflation works, but maybe I'll see what everybody else has to say. So I'll stop for now.
Ron, wasn't another large increase the shelving, that the steel went up considerably in the last 4 years? Wasn't that a big part of this?
I believe so. Corey, you might be able to speak to that better than I can.
Yes, shelving, the steel prices have fluctuated quite a bit. However, right now we're still in a bit of an umbrella, keeping us at the lower cost where we are only really, I mean, again, I apologize for saying only, but 17,000 over the 4 years is actually pretty good as far as inflation goes. But yes, in fact, as of today, however, you folks are safe. I've got you on a little bit of an umbrella. The factory's actually had another price increase because steel's been going through the roof over the last few months, and it's about to go up about 9%. So we're going to find that across the board everywhere. So steel's tough right now.
It should be noted too that in the grant application for not just the FF&E, but the total budget, there was an escalation clause for, I think, 3 years that accounted for inflation moving forward. And that was kind of rolled into the contingency, the issue we're having today. So if you took that 610 from 4 years ago and you added the built in to the grant application, that escalation clause, we would probably be very similar to the number we're talking about tonight. The issue is since that time that the contingency that was generated has been eaten up for the most part by the soils issue that the project had. So now we're up against a hard contingency, hard budget, and now we're seeing what that delta is.
So Mark, that being said, or maybe Andy can chime in. Do we even have the $51,000, or are we stealing from somewhere else? Or I know we're tight on what's left over.
Yep. So yeah, I can speak to that a little bit. I was going to suggest that we can I can take these latest numbers and put them into my spreadsheet. I know we're pretty close. We've had some significant savings in some other areas, some other budget items that were part of the total FF&E number, if you will. So, and we're still working on some of that stuff to try and save some money wherever we can. So I think we're pretty close. I think we're close enough where we can, where we'll be able to approve both of these numbers tonight if we want to, because we're not really that far off. We've had some good savings in other places that sort of offset some of this. So I think we're in better shape overall than just this piece of it looks. Again, this is shelving and furniture. We've got appliances, we've got other equipment that we're purchasing as well. But again, some of that stuff is coming in a little bit better than we'd hoped. So it's all in all, we're almost even to where we thought we were going to be. It's not the same kind of gap that we're looking at just right here.
Okay, go ahead, Pablo.
Sorry, finish your thought.
Well, I'm just thinking, if we we're not done with the project yet, something comes up, how are we to justify buying all this furniture when we've got to pay for the other things? I just don't, like, I don't know where it comes from. So is there any way to have, like, do we need all of this furniture right now, or can it be bought out later? Or if we buy it out later, we don't get it at the same price?
I think this is probably a good time for me to speak up, Mary.
Sure.
So, you know that we have the capital campaign that's been raising monies for the project. And so of course, I was part of the interior subcommittee also, and been working with Andy and Beth on this proposal. And, a number of these rooms have been endowed. And as someone endows a room, right, they're just paying money to put their name on that room. And certainly the capital campaign is willing to take some of those endowment funds and contribute to the furniture in each of those rooms. So I talked to Andy and Beth earlier, and we've committed to make up at least that 51K difference through that capital campaign.
Oh, that's huge.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I would actually say that it's likely that we can contribute the capital campaign contribute elsewhere also. Right, because there are going to be some other rooms that are endowed, which can then pay for some of that furniture, which would then, make this number even less or free up some monies for other expenditures.
Right. So what I would like to suggest is that I'm going to take these latest numbers and I can work with Doug, but copy everybody else, and so everybody knows what's going on. But we can certainly hone in on what the real numbers look like, so that we can keep this moving forward. Because I think that's one of the critical things, is to be able to place an order. The shelving piece in particular is critical for us to be able to move. So we want to be looking at that order placed. But I think right now, with the help of Doug and all the folks on that side of things, I think we can move forward with these numbers and the full furniture and shelving proposals that we're seeing tonight.
Okay, and then just the last point I'd want to make is that, yes, it is $51,000 more, but the furniture is just as important, because when you come into the space, it's got to look like a finished product. And so as much as $51,000 sounds like a lot of money, I would like to see it furnished out. And if we have the help from the capital campaign and all of that, I think that, I would like to see this move forward. So, Prabhu, did you have anything?
Yes,
Okay.
thank you. So, in the larger scheme of things, the 51,000 is not a big deal, right? So, and as Doug said, that if the capital campaign can bring in that money, that's good. But when what out of the 661, building on what Lisa was asking earlier, what amount or what percentage is because of inflation, and what is the new furniture? Do we know? Is it $61,000, which is new furniture? Is it $15,000, which is new furniture? What's the scope creep?
We haven't
Yeah.
looked at it into that depth.
Yeah, we'd
This
have to
is-
pull that
this
apart a
is-
little bit.
Yeah, this is Corey. I never actually looked at it in those terms either.
I'm sorry. So can I'll rephrase my question? The 546,087 had a list of items. Your scope was, say, 120 items. That is what gave you the 546,087. What was the total number for the 661,043? Was it 120? I guess I'm told that there were new furniture, additional furniture that was being added, right? So is it 140? Did we buy 20 more chairs? Are we looking at 20 additional furniture?
We'd have to look at the original layout that the 2017 was based on.
Right.
And compare it to the layout. I mean, because the building changed. The layout of the interior spaces changed. So that could, I believe, lead to why there's more furniture in some areas. Beth, you wanted to chime in?
Beth?
Yeah, thanks. So just off the top of my head, it's possible that not every office included file space. Just an oversight, but then having to add a pedestal file and credenza that could take the place of like an extra chair for somebody to sit on and also double as a storage space was one of the ways we tried to fit in the things that were missing, and still economize. We did have in our heads from the building program beginning that the children's room would have this Eastern woodlands theme to it. So Corey may have only priced out like soft seating for the children's space, and then we found, admittedly expensive, log chair and toad stew mushrooms in 2 sizes that are commercial grade that perfectly fit the room that we would really love to have. But like we've already started to kind of go through and go, if we had to pull something out, like that might be the first target, and maybe a donor would buy that whole set for us and reduce that cost. They are, again, they're art pieces, but they're sturdy and durable, perfect for the space, but they're expensive. We originally intended for a nursing room, but I don't know that we included the cost of a commercial grade chair to put a nursing parent into. And we could take it out and replace it with a Cella lounge chair and a footstool, but it would be better to, if we have the funding for it, to go commercial grade and to do that kind of thing. We budgeted for 28 chairs, I think, in the children's room both times, with hoping to get a variety of seating. And then I said in our meeting last week, so now you're telling me that it's great that we have 28 seats, but half are for toddlers and the other half are for school age kids, which means we're going to be limiting our brand new program space that fits 30 children to 14 kids, because you're not going to be able to put the 5th graders on the toddler seat or the toddlers on the 5th grader seat. So we really should be, if not doubling these chairs, at least buying, 6 to 10 extras. We hadn't thought of the bariatric chair angle, and I did try and pick a nice sturdy chair. I really pushed for that. That mesh chair, I think it's the Opt 4, the stackable high density, really durable mesh and poly chair for our 117 seat community program room. But it may cost a little extra to put the sliders on. So sometimes it's just things like that. But I also hate to quibble over, when I say I really need about 10 more chairs for the children's program room. Those chairs are $100 a piece. I mean, I can understand going, you know what, no logs. We can't do the logs and the mushrooms. Find a donor to pay for that. But I think I would say we haven't been extravagant. We've made more workrooms with counters than we have fancy ergonomic desks. I do think that the staff do deserve to have ergonomic desks, but that's another spot you could decide to cut if you needed to. I will say that the stand to sit thing is not only ergonomic, but a trend, and it's almost as expensive to outfit a desk with that riser for your laptop as it is to just buy a desk that works and goes up and down and then really becomes a more flexible mobile piece of furniture.
Thank you, Beth. And just to be clear again, the 51,000 is, again, it's a round off error in the larger scheme of things. That's not what my piece was. But when you look from a communication, the numbers speak a different story, right? Between 2017 quote and the 2021 quote, in that 4 years, the inflation was 7% over 4 years, all total in, whereas the increase is about 21%. So when we see that, is it 3 times more? It's not, right? So to your point, as you explained very eloquently, there are a bunch of things that were not anticipated that was added in. And then Doug also clarified that, okay, he's going to bring in the 51,000, so we are good to go with that. Thank you.
Mary, I have another question.
Sure, go ahead, Lisa.
Is this all set? Like, are we furnishing the building like all set, or are we gonna be asking for additional things?
This is everything.
This is it, yeah.
Okay.
Mary, I'd like to just make one comment.
Yeah, sure. Would you like-
This is everything, but did you guys add a modesty for Beth's desk? Just because of the orientation of it, I really think it's not going to be a huge ad, but I think she needs a modesty panel on her sit-stand desk.
I'm immodest and I hardly wear short skirts. It'll be fine.
No, it doesn't cost much, but okay. I'll back down on that.
Give it to her. Give it to her.
I will
I'm
back
not
down on
it.
that, but it's something that I would, if I was designing it, I would add that.
Yeah. Nobody else is getting one either. Like,
No,
I
but they're
see.
up against a wall. You're facing a door.
oh, I'm gonna move that desk the first day I move in. Are you kidding me?
Oh, never mind then.
Don't tell Ron and Ken, though.
Never mind. But your electrical and your data is where that is.
I know. Yeah, I had planned to pause to rotate it a little bit. It'll work.
Okay. That's all.
I just want to add how invaluable Julie has been. I mean, everybody has had a lot of input, but Julie has had, because of her work, has had so many good ideas, suggestions. and the double rub. I'm gonna ask her,
I've been a pain in the neck.
what about a single rub? I want to know about the single rub.
Very good. It's been huge.
It's been a
Andy,
good group.
everybody, you guys have all been great, but I just wanted to share how much I respect all of her very valuable input.
Thank you, John.
There were more than a few patterns where people picked kind of the winner, and then they'd say, check the double rubs because of Julie, and then we'd say, oh, she's not gonna accept that, throw it out, and we'd start over, so.
It's important.
Yeah, and it really helps with your experience, your other job. Just having experience with actual specific products and specific tables and specific chairs, that was very invaluable.
Well, I like all the product that we have presented here, so it's going to be really nice.
Well, that's good to hear. Yeah,
That's
it
what
sounds
gave me
like you all
comfort.
did a ton of work.
If I didn't like something or agree, if Julie was in favor of it, I honestly, that's how much I respected her opinion, that it's like that she knows what she's talking about. So
Thank you.
I am sorry, I have another question. What
Yeah,
is
go
life-
ahead. That's what we're here
What's the life
for.
expectancy of this? And then will there be some sort of like replacement in your operating budget, Beth, for ongoing replacement?
I can certainly put in for it. I can tell you that I'm already thinking about that I'm going to have a lot of computers to be replacing on a 3 to 5 year basis, and we won't be able to do them all at once, so it'll be staggered. I can put in for it, but I am guessing, given the way town municipal budgeting goes, it will be the first thing to be cut. And, you know, maybe we'll get 10 to 20 years out of some of this stuff, which will be great, especially the office furniture, you know, the non-soft stuff. It may be cheaper to reupholster if we need to. But I also can see, like, 25 years from now, we're going to have some worn burned chairs that are going to look really crappy. And the life expectancy, remember, of all this stuff is 20 years. But I think in all likely, it's going to be another 100 years before Grafton ponies up the money to renovate the library again. And, you know, I think that's just how it's going to be.
Yeah.
I might be wrong. I mean, there is still going to be a capital campaign that we could go to. But, you know, it is really town capital expense that would bear the cost. Hospitality industry replaces 3 to 5 years. And I don't think that's going to happen with our furniture.
No. Okay, any other questions?
So ideally, from tonight's meeting, if capital campaign is going to cover that delta, which I think is tremendous, and the level of community support, again, is off the charts on this project, but would be so this is a recommendation from the Building Interiors Subcommittee. So the overall Building Committee would approve this and then authorize DRA to authorize Tucker to release the orders, and then follow up with an additional services, addition for DRA to formalize the change order, as it were. But in the meantime, we can get some orders placed. And to Andy's point, especially the shelving, that's the thing that we need first.
So I make a motion, is that what you need?
Yeah, let's start with the motion.
I make a motion to approve the budget for furniture and shelving in the amount of $661,043, with the understanding that the library capital campaign will be paying $51,043.
second, John.
Okay, and any other questions before we vote? Okay, by roll call, Beth,
Aye.
Doug,
Aye.
Prabhu,
Aye.
Lisa,
Aye.
John,
Aye.
Julie,
Aye.
Mary, aye. Okay, well, that was great.
Congrats, it's a big deal, so Nice job, everybody.
Yeah, that's a big one for you all to get off your plate, I'm sure. So really nice job, everybody. I know it was a lot of hours and a lot of time put in, so we really do appreciate it. Does anybody have anything else?
I've got one more item, Mary, and this backs up a little bit, but we had a Zoom call today, Andy, myself, Ken, and Ron and Berkshire Design to go over the potential donor opportunities, the landscape opportunities in the exterior. And there may be, 10 or 12 different items that we've been vetting. And we had an additional services proposal from DRA a month plus ago and never formally acted upon it, though DRA did with Berkshire Design. So the schematics, what was the additional service for was the schematic design for these landscape changes. That work was done by Berkshire Design. It's been tweaked a little bit and it's out for pricing, but it was never formally approved by this committee. And so rather than wait until our meeting next month, if we approved it now, then DRA could bill against it this month along with Berkshire Design. I don't know, Ron, I don't have that in front of me. If you have that dollar amount, or Andy?
It was 9,300.
Okay. So I'd ask for the committee to, again, formally authorize or approve that additional services from DRA for 9,300.
I'm happy to make the motion, but I have a question about it after I make it. So I make the motion that the committee approve $9,300 for Berkshire Design for a DRA schematic design.
Second.
Okay, Lisa?
My question is, was this budgeted or is this an additional?
This is additional, and this came about because some donors had stepped up and earmarked, for example, the green roof. Somebody wanted to donate to the green roof, which is great, but that means somebody's got to design the green roof. And so that's what this is for.
Do we have a list of, was it just the green roof or is there
No,
a
right.
list of things? Yeah.
There are a dozen items behind the building, the children's area, the green roof, some seating walls, a lot of stone walls, and then in the front, the team patios. You pulling it up, Ron? No. So there were ultimately 10 to 12 different areas, a lot of planting changes. So it was pretty involved, and Berkshire Design did a nice job, and now we're just getting pricing on it. And since that time, DRA has had an independent estimate done on the proposed changes, and we'll match that against what the contractor gives us. And then we can either do it through the contract or it can be done privately. This is the earlier iteration. It's since been kind of jazzed up a little bit. And some or a lot of this work may be pursued outside of the contract with CTA, may be pursued independently, privately, through any donors who are earmarking certain areas.
So Doug, I was gonna sit down with Dana on Wednesday to sort of walk through where we are with donor funding as well as these scopes and get them to match up. So we understand what we have to work with and then what we can actually do and what we can't do. So the whole idea of this has been there's a certain amount of landscaping scope that was part of the project. And then there's additional donor funded work that we're only going to do if we have donor funding. So there's been some things proposed here that we don't have donor funding for. So we probably won't do it. But I just want to go through and sort of match up where we are with donor funding and where we are with this schematic a little bit further than schematic design from Berkshire and make sure that we're matched up.
Yeah, I guess I would say that whatever percentage of that expense was related to the other projects, the capital campaign can pick up that percentage.
Okay, great.
Great.
Thank you.
So Andy, when you're saying we're at schematic design, so that we'll be receiving more fees.
Yeah, so we're a little bit further than schematic, and we had this discussion today with Berkshire. And this isn't gonna, I don't think this is necessarily gonna go through the full traditional, schematic design, design development, construction document, construction administration phases. They understand that we've already got a lot of this stuff lined up, that we're gonna need less documentation than normal. So yeah, I think it's gonna be a little bit more of a streamlined process to get to what we need at the end of this thing. But to answer your question, yes, there will be some more design fee involved here as we sort of tighten up the scope and provide some more detail and some more information so that the scope can be executed out in the field. Yeah.
So maybe looking at we're 50% there. We'll be paying another $9,000 or more.
There'll be something more out there. Yeah. I mean, the intent was if somebody was going to donate money for a landscaped item, that would include the design services. So, that's the goal, is to be able to have some of this stuff get paid by donor funding as well. So the design fees for the work that actually happens.
Okay. All right. Any other questions before we vote? Okay, vote by roll call. Beth,
Aye.
Doug,
Aye.
Prabhu,
I think he had to
He
leave.
stepped off.
okay. Lisa,
Aye.
John,
Aye.
Julie,
Aye.
Mary, aye. Great. All right. Anybody have anything else?
Anybody
Move
that's
to-
interested, come on by the building. It's starting to really shape up. Next
Yeah.
few weeks are going to be really interesting. Really, this is going to be amazing, everybody. I'm telling you, it's going to be really, really good.
Can't
Move
wait.
to adjourn.
Second.
All right, great. Well, I guess we can adjourn then. We have our meeting before that, but we do have our meeting in 2 weeks?
2 weeks.
Yep.
Yeah, so we'll see you all back here then. Till then, it is 7:09. We can adjourn.